Well, good morning, kiddies. I am awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I got to sleep from approximately, I have no idea. I think I slept 5 hours. You know, the hated Hitler, Donald Trump, he sleeps, they say, 4 or 5 hours maybe. Bam, he's up. He's accomplishing more than any president that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Well, we won't go there because we know he's Hitler. Oh, Lord. Who in their right mind know anything about Hitler. I know far more than the average person because my dad got to stay in one of his hotels for 30 days at the end of the war. Without getting into any of that, though, those of you who think they know me or know anything about my father, whom I love dearly, led him to Christ on his deathbed. It was quite a situation that took place in Stamford, Connecticut. About, I don't have the exact date, but it was around April of 1980, 3 months before my daughter was born. So April, May, June, July, August. I didn't even know what we had. We didn't check out anything. We barely could see what anything was through the ultrasound. We knew that the child, was alive. The heart was beating. That's about all we knew until, Margaret Sanger. I wonder who she was. Let's see if anybody off the top of their head know whatsoever who Margaret Sanger was and what she began in apparently abortion to take care of those that got impregnated, and it was time to just get rid of the little mass inside the belly. Well, I'll just tell you who Margaret Sanger was. She was a woman who systematically worked with Hitler because it was all about the elimination of black people. They're the Democrat Party that has been protecting black people all of their lives through the Great Society created by Lyndon Johnson. All this was created, ladies and gentlemen, little children that know so much more than me, to control the masses. That's what the mask was all about. When the biological spiritual warfare was released through Fauci, the Wuhan lab, and others, with Biden, Joe Biden, yes, he's a good president. Oh, yeah. 50 years he's been a complete lying piece of poo-poo. Twice having run for the presidency, twice prevented from doing so because of plagiarism. Oh, what is plagiarism, Daddy? That's when you play in the playground and you plagiar with everybody. You raise your right hand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of United States of America. So those that are very able to react to things that I say and do, and want to put me on some kind of medication to create the zombie that's needed to shut up me, because, of course, Generation X needs respect. Yes, they need respect. After all, they came out of the womb with the need to be told or to tell us what we need to know. And then along came woke, and then along came Democrat socialists. Now we have the extreme communist in New York. My whole life was fighting against those that wanted to create government programs, which to a point have their place. Thank God some of them are in place for me. But had I had the freedom of making choices for my own investments, I'd be a multimillionaire today. Had I not had children, each one of them probably over the years, My sweet little daughter said to me, Dad, I had a good life. I know you had a hard life. I've been still having a hard life. But she said to me, well, I can't lend you any money because I'm jammed. Well, I have the opportunity. $900 is going to get me into a brand new, spanking brand new car, refurbished by Hertz, and they become the car dealership because it's Hertz rent a car or Hertz buy a car. And I knew all the guys in sales. I know sales, I know cars, and I couldn't believe what it was. I did call my buddy, Bill Morrison, former captain, having graduated from West Point. Ooh. And instantly, when I asked him for $300, he gave it to me. Then a week later, here I am. I paid him back already, and then I ask again. Say, Bill, could you do X, Y, and Z? I mean, sent out a notice of, could you either donate to the fund, or could you loan me the money? Then I would pay back in interest. Nobody listens. Everybody says, yeah, it's all about me. It's all about me. I can't eat. Well, $900. I actually spent close to $200 or $300 on my granddaughters, which I didn't have. I did lots of things. I had to give them things. I had to. I know what children want more than anything, and I haven't seen them. Totally, they were kept from me because, oh, God, I saw you do a crazy thing, Dad. You reached into a garbage can and ate a pizza crust. I come from a generation of people that had to go through the Depression. And my grandmother, who was born in 1895, Jean Rogers, Everett Rogers, my grandfather, she would take me through the A&P in New York. You all can look that up. It was called the A&P Tea Company, but it was the Publix of our day. Very good grocery store. And we would, go through the aisles, and she would stop at the vegetable, crack open from a pod, peas, and make me eat them raw. There was no, hey, you, Bubby. You ate them. You ate whatever was set before you. The thing that just nauseated me to almost throwing up were beets. I was told to sit at the table, and I couldn't leave the table until I ate the beets. I would put them close to my mouth. I don't want to. 3.5 hours sitting at a table. If you got up and you left, you either got it in the back of the head or whatever. But, that's child abuse. No. It created in me, along with other things, a very strong immune system so that when COVID hit, and the whole objective was to put people under masks, and they've now found out what they did to children during that period of time. They were out of school. Children need the activity of collectively being together, playing, da-da-da-da-da-da. But here we have, for years, the Democrat Party building things like the teachers' unions and all the things. The teachers' union has been so strong, and it has created no good whatsoever as far as grades are concerned. In comparison to other countries, we rank, out of 50 countries, we rate, about 48. That's changing because somebody's making America great again. Does anybody even know what that means? Why he came on the scene the way that he did in 2015, I started hearing this stuff. We wanted him to stand up against this slick guy out of Chicago, Mr. Obama, Barack. Who was it that he trained under? A man and his wife called Bill Ayers. Bill Ayers and his wife, they were radicals from the 60s. They were ready and worrying and ready and able collectively through the persuasion of children with heads full of mush to get them in colleges to listen to the propaganda they were teaching about the collective. And this kind of thing was going on even in the settling of the Constitution. You can see this in the movie or in the play 1776. We've been fighting with those that have opposed the true nature of what the Constitution is for 250 years. And we're going to have the celebration of this coming this July, and there's surprises to come. What is it? Why is it that our president has the backing of the greatest nations? Saudi Arabia, the commitments of billions of dollars, billions. I think Japan or one of the countries pledged $500 billion. Do you know that I've heard statistics about what, you could just try to imagine a dollar bill back to back, back to back, back to back, all the way to the moon and back again, measures about $1 trillion. And we have pissed money away with promises from politicians that never, ever fulfilled any of their promises. All they did was trash Republicans who had never had the guts to stand up until Mr. Trump came along. Do you know what he did to George Bush? Not George Bush, but the third brother, Jeb Bush, totally trashed him and knocked him out when there were 17 different people running for the office of the presidency. I wanted not Pat Buchanan, but I wanted the attorney from Texas to win, and Rubio, he knocked him out one after another after another. I didn't like him at all. I was told that he was this, that, and the other thing. I didn't realize I was taking and I didn't even watch The Apprentice. I didn't realize I was eating systematic propaganda about this man's character. Trashed, 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 trashed. Look what they tried to do to indict him in New York with that overweight, fat pig attorney general who claimed she was going to take Donald Trump down, made him go through a trial in a very cold courtroom in New York. At the same time, the same black pigs went after him in Georgia. They find out, that these people are collecting money and becoming extremely wealthy. As you start to see how somebody comes into this country from Somalia and marries her brother to get into this country, and she suddenly her net worth is just skyrocketed. How does that happen? Well, I'll tell you what, Donald Trump's wealth didn't skyrocket. It was put under a trust that his sons run, the family business. He didn't lose money. He gains money, not by under the table anything whatsoever. But then again, he is Hitler. Oh, well, let's get into a fun subject this morning. I want to tell the story about I want to tell the story, will be my theme in glory, to tell the old story. Let me tell just a brief story about my sweet Karen Brooks, where you can easily Google her name, her accomplishments in Nashville, and all of the above. I met her through Match.com. And you could, if you've ever done the dating game, Martha, Martha, Bo, Bartha, Banana, Fana, Fopartha, Pie, Mo, Martha, Martha. Well, if you've ever understood how it works, you are given people's phone numbers, and usually the ladies don't make the calls. But she made a call and left a message on my machine. It was up in Georgia. still trying to survive, going through very difficult times, having been scammed by an incredible Hustler magazine female who came through. I don't know how she got my name, a Christian organization where I had written a letter. Boy, they were elaborate in their abilities. And when you're down and out and you're hungry and you're tired, you'll take anything, especially when a man sees a woman take her shirt off and those breastologists pop right out and you're like, oh my God. And you're still full of testosterone, even at my age. Your eyes pop out of your head and you're hooked. That's how they do it. That's how Satan works. So here I am that summer. I think it was the summer of 2019 now that I did the research because of the movie Yesterday that had come out. And it was a really fascinating movie. I absolutely implore thou to Google Yesterday and watch that movie about the Beatles. And so she calls me or wrote me and gave a litany list of her accomplishments and who she was. I'd never heard of her. And having won a Grammy Award, first female Grammy Award, Grammy in 1990, I think, for the best female singer. She was a writer. And so we make a date to have a date at Chili's in Dawsonville. Well, she's late. Commonly, women that are late constantly, who most are late all the time, they're either putting on their makeup, picking their nose, whatever they may be doing, but a woman must paint her face. I didn't know what she was doing, and I don't know why she was late, but I was sitting waiting for her at Chili's. And it was a Chili's where it was 2 levels, and I think you stepped down to where our table was. And she said, I think I'm going to be late. Well, my first response was, well, if you're late, you're going to have to write lines. What does that mean, Dad? Well, if you were misbehaving in school, you would write across usually a manila or a yellow pad without lines. You would write, I will not pull Peggy's hair again. If you'd been caught pulling Peggy's hair, you had to write that 100 times. Well, Logan had to write lines all the time. I got in trouble in school all the time. I was one of the best spitball throwers of all time. And other things. I used to make Georgine Averly in my 10th grade sophomore year laugh and laugh and laugh. And then I asked her out on a date and she went, ooh, that was a little bit odd for her, but we dated on and off for about 3 months. And of course, she broke up with me because she'd come out of private school and she was now in the public schools and she hadn't been around boys and all of a sudden I'm flirting with her. She was a little pudgy, She would borrow her brother's Corvair and come pick me up. A Corvair, look that up. It was a back engine GM car. And I actually bought one a year later that my sister crashed. Oh, Logan, please lend me your car. Oh, please, 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 please. And she goes down to Portchester, New York, where the drinking age is 18, with her friends. They get drunk, and she's driving one night. And it's raining. And Ralph Nader wrote a book called Unsafe at Any Speed. And the tail end, because it was a rear engine, just like the Volkswagen, it would lose its ability going around a corner too fast, especially if it was raining. Well, of course, that happened because she didn't know how to drive like a race car driver. And my first and only car, when she comes home that night, what happened, Lauren? I crashed your car. I'm so sorry. I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. I will pay you back. Oh, God. I can't believe you would do anything like that. It's my only car. I just spent $200 on radial tires. I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. Lauren, just go to bed. We'll talk about it in the morning. Well, with all those promises made, 3 weeks later in the kitchen, Dad had said, "This is okay, the time. Now, how much are you gonna want, Logan?" Well, I put tires on, everything for $400. Okay, Lauren. I'm not paying him anything. Lauren, are you kidding me? My daughter? You promised. I never said anything. I never said a word. This is the denial of an alcoholic who became a raging alcoholic when she was older because our parents were raging alcoholics, but they were functioning alcoholics. Nevertheless, they were alcoholics. So we're not going to go down the mean road of that, but my sister didn't pay me back at all. It's just something. My dad goes out to make up for that. Instead of, really punishing her and making her pay me the $400 that I had put into that car and the value of the car, he let her skate. He let his daughter skate, but he didn't let his sons escape. I was the firstborn son. I got the worst of the brutality. He meant well. It says in the Bible, he meant it for good. They meant it for good. They didn't mean it for good. They meant it for evil, driven by alcohol. There's a song by the Kinks, a very popular group during the British invasion. Oh, demon alcohol, strange memories I can't recall. Well, if your parents drink, and my mother drank beer every day, almost like it was water, it was just what she did. She cleaned the house, she did her knitting, she did everything, and especially she did her bitching. Bitched every day, and Dad went to work. He went on the train, and sometimes in Greenwich, Connecticut, at 7 o'clock in the morning, they would take the bar would be open, and they would have a shot or two. These are the men that fought the war. These are the men that went through a depression, the greatest generation. So they could remain in drinking and being alcoholics, right? They were functioning, and I think there's a Netflix series about the salesman back then. My dad was that. He was in sales. He worked for Arrow Shirts at one time. And, here he would come home and have his martini. He would stop at Palmer's, where my sister had worked, and get lamb's tongue. And there was cow tongue in a pickle jar. And he would eat that along with his martini and sit and watch the news. By the time that took place and he was getting home around 7:30, we were impeccably had taken our bath, and we had one bathtub in a home that was built in the 1600s in Connecticut. One tub, 2 girls, 3 boys. You cannot imagine what the fights were like to get your alone time in the bath. But we were all bathed and ready for bed when Dad came home. That's just the beginning of just part of how life had really deteriorated because of the toxin and the poison called alcohol. Dad drank. It was the survival medicine. He denied ever wanting to be a part of this 12-step program that came out of, out of Bill Wilson, who started that, and right after the war, and along with a man that I met, Dr. Walter Leckler, who invited me to Germany. He briefly spent some time working with Bill Wilson. And, "Oh, Logan," he would say to me, about the story of Adam and Eve. "Those are just stories." Well, they're not. It really took place. It can be in many ways documented, but we won't go there. We don't need to study where Noah's Ark wound up on Mount Arafat. But we do need to listen to our elders. At 77 years old, those that are listening to this need to understand one thing. I've lived a hard life, literally from the age of 7 on. My Camelot ended. I had Camelot before that. And I'll tell about that later, about the just bliss of beauty. But Dad loved me, and he was going to discipline me as the firstborn. He used tactics that many tried to stop him from, which only angered him more, and he put more pressure on me as a result of it. His wife wouldn't work with him at all. She just infuriated him. The more he would scream, the more she would take gasoline and pour it on his fire. We'll get back to that. I'll try to make these stories fun and happy, but that's why I am the way that I am. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Roy Rogers, Dale Evans. And we would now we come to join the sound. No, from you to me. MIC. See you real soon. KEY. Why? Because we love you. MOUSE. Two girls that were my absolute favorite that I loved more than anything was Darla from the Little Rascals. Oh, she was so pretty and cute. And Alfalfa would sing, the object of my affection is to change your direction from Rosie to... And there he was like Romeo trying to woo Darla. And I would watch that along with what came out in around 1955 was the first time Annette Funicello, who was born in Utica, New York, where I lived for a while, in the adjacent town called New Hartford, when I opened and got off the ground the famous, still there, Noreen's Salon and Blow Dry Bar, which was upstairs. I found everything, built everything. When she was done with me, threw me under the fence, under the bus, and then proceeded to tell my daughter that I had stolen from her. I actually talked to Noreen last week. She's still same thing, over and over and over again. You stole from me. No, I didn't, Noreen. You gave me permission. No, I did not. No, you wanted to raise money. You wanted to buy Bobby Brown products. They fit in a shoebox. $5,000. You insisted. Get the money any way you can. She forgot even saying that because she forgot all the time. Her mother died of schizophrenia. She was molested when she was 6 years old. Alcohol. Beauty. She got what she wanted. She had beautiful breasts. She got me that way. And really kissing her for the first time, I was hooked. But then again, that was my fault, right? Happy trails to you. Good night, everybody, or good morning. You'll see this, and I hope it will be a bestseller, especially for Jimmy Crack Corn. And I don't care, the Carbon, who really know what they're doing. Yeah, right. Another crash about to burn again if they don't stop. Imagine memorizing the Psalms. Nobody listens to that. It has an anointing on it. He is getting somewhere, but it's insane. It's beyond insanity. Nobody can stop him. He's going to accomplish all 150 Psalms because our mutual grandmother made him memorize scripture. But you see, he's so whipped by the poussoir that he's naive about the driving force of why it is. Not only did his wife really bring on her own stroking. It was stroking to the left and was stroking to the right. I be stroking. Was brought on by murmuring and ego, and male and female egos work differently. But boy, she was going to have her way. Pretty, affair after affair before she married him, then had one on him. Now she's stuck in a position like Lot's wife, still not capable of hearing. Neither is he. And we have our periodic falling out, but he doesn't think he wants to talk to me for a week or so. And I said, how about a year? A year off. Well, that's very toxic. Why is it that I'm the problem child? How about you get this? Uh, somebody sang a song. He was an excitable boy, an excitable boy. Try to find that song, Excitable Boy. Listen to that, and then also listen to Bang Bang. Maxwell's silver hammer came down upon her head. Bum ba da bum. Ooh, bye bye, everybody. Good morning. Love you all. Hey, happy trails to you until we meet again.